Hi, my name is Drake, and a couple years ago I purchased the abandoned ruins of our town's first Waterworks facility. Why I decided to do this, I have questioned many times, but I would walk by this place pretty much every day. It's right next to our city's walking trail, which is an old railroad bed, and behind the property is a river that runs through town, so it's a really nice scenic area. And I would walk by and wonder what this place was. Meanwhile, I was looking for a property project to take on, wanted someplace where I could grow my business. I do video production for a living, and also someplace that might be kind of a forever property where I could live, I could have a workshop and tinker around to my heart's content. This place came on the market, and I realized it had a lot of potential to check all of those boxes. Through an interesting series of circumstances, I wound up making a deal with the owners at the time who were ready to be done with the place, and I took possession in late 2020. There are 3 buildings in the property. The main building, which is the oldest, started in 1883, and it held steam pumps which pressurized water for the city's water supply. Those pumps drew water from the tank next door, which is built of massive pieces of plate iron. And the brick pump house in the far end of the property filled up this tank from various water sources. Once this place was decommissioned, it was used mostly for storage, and over the years it was just used less and less until it was completely abandoned. So the past couple of years I haven't had a lot of time to spend over here. I've been very busy with work, but I have gotten projects done as much as I can. I've actually re-roofed one of the buildings, the little brick pump house on the end of the property. I did that in December by myself for the most part because there were no contractors available. I've also completely gutted that building. They partitioned that into a couple rooms at some point, and the city actually used that as their workshop for repairing the water meters. They poured a second concrete floor in it that was all sloped down to a central drain, and not one bit of that floor was level, of course. So I busted that out, and we're in the course of digging a drainage ditch around the building to keep the water out where it belongs. Here in the main building, the room we're sitting in right now actually used to be partitioned into like 7 or 8 little rooms and hallways and cubbies. There's a bathroom and a kitchen in here. There was a drop ceiling. There was raccoon crap everywhere, and it was just a total mess. All that's been gutted and taken out, and we're now back to pretty much the 1920s footprint of this building, which is really cool. We've exposed the 13-foot high ceilings with beadboard up there, which is still mostly in great shape. And of course, there's much more that needs to be done, but I'm really excited to start making more progress over here now and also sharing it with you all. I've really enjoyed other people's YouTube channels on their own historic properties that they're fixing up and bringing back to life. And it's also a nice sense of community that develops around some of these projects where you have people all over the internet who are along for somebody's journey. So I'm going to start putting out these videos about once a week, just documenting what I'm doing on the place, so that way you all can come along for the journey, learn from my mistakes, and maybe have some fun along the way. So, without further ado, let's jump into current projects. I'm putting up some security cameras, so that way I can keep an eye on this place when I'm not here. I'm here pretty much every day, but I do have to spend time elsewhere on occasion. And also like to start getting some windows opened up around the property so I can see what I'm doing. We have some other projects coming up, so let's get started. This is a cable continuity checker. Works for coaxial cables or Ethernet in this case. Now that I have cameras up in the property, I can finally do something that I've been looking forward to for a long time, and that is to take the rest of the plywood off of the windows here in the workshop building. Previous owners had boarded these up many years ago for security reasons, and good news is the windows are preserved. Only 2 of them are broken. The bad news is it's very dark in here and it's hard to work when there's not enough light. So now that I have cameras up in the property, I feel more secure in taking that plywood off so that way I can finally use these windows again for their intended purpose, which is to let light into the building. Wow. Well, that was a very warm job for a very warm day, but look at all this light. This is beautiful. I read somewhere in one of the old building restoration books that I like to read that windows are the eyes of a building. And it really hits home when you see the windows opened up like this. It's like the building's coming alive. It's very exciting. Well, one of the things that I'm trying to do here at the Waterworks whenever possible is reuse and repurpose materials for a variety of reasons. Not only is it a way to save money, which is important with the way the materials prices are right now, but it's also kind of a fun game to figure out how you can repurpose things and put them back to useful work. Last night I happened to be on Facebook and somebody put up a couple dozen bricks here locally just for free by the side of the road. Come and get them. And I was going through town anyway, so I stopped by the address, and the gentleman came out and he said, well, would you like any more bricks? So of course I said yes. And it turns out he had a whole pile of these behind his garage that he just needed gone. So he let me use his wheelbarrow. I made many trips back and forth to my truck, and I got them loaded up. And here we are this morning, and there's clearly several hundred bricks here. I haven't counted these yet, but I need to go grab a pallet and figure out where we're going to put these. We're here next to the water tank, and this is where I've been keeping a lot of my materials, things that don't need to stay completely indoors, but I want to at least get out of the elements. So a lot of my foam insulation is in here and some other things. So as an added bonus too, next to the bricks behind his garage, he had a bunch of these gate hinges. Now these are some kind of steel. They look rough, but I think they'll clean up really nicely, and I can actually put these to use here pretty soon for some doors for the workshop. So I'm going to grab a pallet here, we'll get these stacked and counted, and we'll see how many we wound up with. So we're here in the water tank, and to say that the roof leaks would be an understatement. Unfortunately, it's not been maintained very well over the years. The original cedar shake shingles are still on the roof, and I think it's only been re-roofed once since it was built. The perimeter leaks, but the center part is still mostly good, so that's where I've been stacking things for the time being. Things like foam insulation are relatively impervious to moisture, and my lumber, bricks, other things like that, I keep tarped, and they are able to dry out reasonably well if they do get wet, if they're stored properly. So In this case, this is a temporary solution. We're doing the best that we can with the space that we have available. And at some point I will be re-roofing this building, but I need to get the workshop on its way first and pay some attention to the main building before I get to this one. So enough about the water tank. We need to move some bricks. We wound up with just over 300 bricks. Most of them are whole bricks. There are a few that have been damaged. A lot of them need to be cleaned up. I was doing a little research. These are Clippert bricks. Not sure if you can see that marking on there. And these were apparently manufactured in Detroit. The company started in 1880 and dissolved in 1989. So no idea how old these are, but they could be old enough to be of similar age to the Waterworks itself, which started in 1883. So it will be nice to put these to use.